Okay, good evening, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. And first, I'm going to turn it over to our interpreter, Regina, for information on interpretation.
Hi, everybody. I have a brief bilingual message to share with you all regarding interpretation, which I will share first in Spanish and then repeat in English. Buenas tardes, tengo un mensaje breve bilingüe que compartir con ustedes. Si les gustaría escuchar toda esta presentación el día de hoy en español, tenemos interpretación simultánea entre el inglés y el español disponible el día de hoy. Si nos están acompañando en una tableta o un iPad, en un teléfono inteligente, como se ve en la pantalla, busquen un menú de 3 puntos en una esquina de sus teléfonos. Les aparecerá un menú de opciones. Háganle clic donde dice Language Interpretation o interpretación del lenguaje. Seleccionen español y asegúrense de darle clic en donde dice Done o Done o finalizado para finalizar la acción. Si nos están acompañando en computadora, verán un icono en forma de globo en la parte inferior de sus pantallas. Háganle clic ahí y seleccionen español. Con cualquier cosa que se comparte el día de hoy, nada más les pedimos que recuerden de hablar a un paso moderado y a un buen volumen. Y con eso repito las instrucciones en inglés y ya dejar que empiece la presentación. So, good evening, everybody. We are providing simultaneous interpretation between Spanish and English for today's presentation. So if you would like to follow along in Spanish, there are some instructions for you to be able to do so. As you can see on the screen, if you're joining us via an iPad, a tablet, a smartphone, look for a 3-dot menu at the bottom corner of your screen. A menu will appear, and one of the options on that menu will be language interpretation. Go ahead and tap on that and then select your preferred language and tap on Done to finalize the action. If you're joining us on a PC, laptop, a computer, look for the globe icon at the bottom of your screen that says Interpretation. Select your preferred language, and with that, you'll be ready to go. Having said all of that, I'll let the presentation get started and enjoy all the information that is there to be shared today. Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you, Regina. I'll go ahead and start interpretation. Okay, great. So like I said, thanks for coming today. Just one note on how to ask questions. All the attendees are in listen-only mode, and you won't be able to share your video or screens. And questions will be answered at the end of the presentation, so I'm going to get through my slides. And attendees can ask them throughout the meeting by using the Q&A feature, which you should have an option Q&A. Click on that and you can type in a question. But I'm going to try to keep those until the end, unless you have a question that you can put your question in at any time. But if it's something that sort of keeps you from understanding the slide I'm on, you can go ahead and ask and I might be able to answer. So with that, so I'm Hillary Blackerby, Planning and Marketing Manager for Santa Barbara MTD. And this webinar is to discuss our proposed service changes for our bus system coming up in 2024 in August. I'm going to go over a quick list of the things we'll be talking about tonight, and then I'll dive deep into each one. So these are our proposed service changes, and then we have a few updates. First is the proposal to expand the span of service on line 15X, to add service and improve on-time performance on line 27, to start, finally, our microtransit service called the Wave in a portion of Goleta and Isla Vista, on-time performance, a temporary downtown waterfront shuttle, and a few other updates while we have you. As a reminder, it's April, still barely almost May, and we're planning for things that would happen August 19th. So these are proposed changes. This is what we hope to do. Our board approves this, and it seems like the public is interested so far in these changes. but it's still tentative, and we'll only be able to add this service if we have enough bus operators available. Based on our projections and our hiring, we think we'll be able to do this additional work, but it's possible that we might not be able to, and so we would have to pull back on some of these if necessary. We hope it's not necessary. So first of all, line 15X, which is our express route between Santa Barbara City College and UCSB, Isla Vista, and Camino Real Marketplace, portion of Goleta. Currently, the service runs on weekdays from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. with 30-minute headways in the morning. So it comes every 30 minutes, and then about every hour the rest of the day. City College students, there used to be more service on this before the pandemic. City College students have asked for later service since classes run into the evening. Of course, the campus doesn't close at 6 p.m. So classes get out after that. And also, just people have other business on campus until later. So what we're proposing is to expand the span of service past 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It would be every 60 minutes between those hours, which is not particularly frequent, but at least it's still a few trips off of the Mesa into the evening, so that people could get out, more likely to take the bus earlier in the day if they know that they can get home in the evening. Then line 27, our Isla Vista shuttle. This is the one route that goes deep into the heart of Isla Vista. And obviously we have a lot of service out there more generally, like along Stork and El Colegio to the campus, but this is the one that goes into the neighborhoods into downtown Isla Vista. This service also suffered cuts through the pandemic, and it runs 7 days a week. On weekday headways, it's every 36 minutes. The on-time performance has definitely suffered, I think partially because it doesn't run as frequently, and there's major loads, people overloading us having to turn some folks away because we don't have space, which we never want to do, but it happens quite a bit in Isla Vista, unfortunately. This obviously shows there's significant demand for the service, especially within Isla Vista proper. You have kind of a lot of options along the El Colegio corridor, but actually within Ivy, this is it. So what we're proposing is to basically double service, and this would run every 20 minutes on weekdays. If you've been to any of our meetings for the past couple of years, you know that we've been talking and planning about microtransit service for several years. Something we're calling the WAVE. Microtransit is flexible, on-demand, curb-to-curb service between any 2 points within a specified zone for a flat fare. So think ride share, but ideally a shared ride, accessible. A driver has been background checked and trained, professionally trained, and a flat fare, which is would be $3 regular fare and $1.50 for seniors and people with disabilities. So pretty a good deal as compared to Uber and Lyft for sure. Be operated with vans, not buses. Rides are ordered via smartphone app or call to the transit center. And I'll show where the map is or where the zone is in a moment. We have temporary operating funding for this. So to do this for 1 year in this area, we have, I mentioned that it's been planned for 4 years. We were planning to launch this in August of 2020. We were making those plans in March of 2020, and then the whole world shut down. Obviously, the pandemic put this on ice, and then we were still, moving forward to acquire the vehicles for this. Our order was canceled by Ford because they decided not to make the first kind of vehicle we were ordering. Then we were looking for other vehicle types. We finally ordered all electric vans. Then they came, we got those, but then we didn't have enough drivers to start the service. Last fall, we finally had enough drivers to start, and the vehicles, unfortunately, in testing were not as reliable as we need them to be as far as battery range, because they are battery electric. So we have ordered additional vans to sort of boost our fleet. Those are gasoline powered, so we'll have a mixed fleet for this so that we can at least get started for now. But it takes a while to get those in hand, and so this will likely start the second half of 2024, but we didn't want to start it until we knew we had a reliable fleet to make it happen. This is the first area we're looking at, but the next one is slated for carpentry. This is the zone. I'm going to take a sip of water and then I'll describe it. Okay, so on this map, if you can see, there are two bluish gray areas. The top one, the larger one, the boundaries of this are Patterson Avenue to the east. To the north, it's Cathedral Oaks. To the west, it's Los Carneros. To the south, it's Kyriel and the freeway. And then the other smaller one south of the freeway is all the housing on either side of Los Carneros, Goleta City Hall, and then the business park areas over there. And then the points that you see separately are the Goleta train station, Santa Barbara Airport, two stops at UCSB, basically where the buses stop, so Elings Hall and North Hall bus loops. And then in Isla Vista, the Ivy Community Center parking lot, and then our El Colegio and Embarcadero del Mar outbound bus stop, so along El Colegio. So if you want to take microtransit service, you have to be in either of those zones or at any of these points, and you could request a ride to anywhere within one of those zones or to any of these points. So for example, I could be at the Isla Vista Community Center and want to go to Trader Joe's on Kyriel. I'd request a ride on my app or by calling the transit center, and the app would say, your ride will come in 8 minutes. I wait, the van comes to me, the driver's getting turn-by-turn directions. They may pick someone else up on the way, but it's all optimized to give you the shortest trip possible to where you need to go. So we have high hopes for this. We think it'll be successful. There's a lot of great sort of points of interest in these areas and some gaps in our service that don't connect these sort of pieces of the puzzle. And if you take one of these trips on microtransit, you transfer for free to any of our fixed route services. So you can extend your trip to get further, but this helps you with that sort of first last 2 miles situation. So we hope to start this towards the end of the year. It won't be ready by August 19th, but before the end of the year, hopefully. And then we have some details on a temporary downtown waterfront shuttle coming back. If you're familiar with how it was around here in the city of Santa Barbara before, say, April 6, 2020, we had for almost 30 years a fully electric shuttle running on State Street and on the waterfront on Cabrillo in Santa Barbara. We have temporary one-time grant funds to bring this back in a much reduced capacity just for this summer. This service would run on Friday, will run. This is happening. This one isn't a proposal. This is actually happening. Service will run on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. It'll start Friday, May 31st and go until September 2nd, which is actually Labor Day Monday. And so this summer, in addition to Friday through Sunday, it'll run on Monday, Labor Day, and then also the 4th of July, which is a Thursday. It'll run every 20 minutes. So whatever stop you're at, a shuttle will come and get you every 20 minutes. And we're using the existing electric shuttles we used before that we've been having on other routes in the interim. There's a picture here of that shuttle. This is the route. It's different. Obviously, State Street is closed to motor vehicles for most of the downtown stretch. which is fine, great. So we worked around that. So I'll move my mouse here and trace the route. If we start at the transit center on the 1000 block of Chapala, the shuttle route will head up Chapala to Sola, right on Sola, right on Anacapa, head down Anacapa, all the way to Gutierrez, turn right on Gutierrez, left on State, so it will be on State Street down below the freeway here, and heads to Cabrillo, turns right, goes to the harbor, heads back the other way, all the way to the zoo, and then back to State and back up, left on Gutierrez and right on Chapala and back. So it's just a circulator, so it's not really an inbound outbound situation, and it just goes in that loop all day. It used to be 2 routes. It used to be Cabrillo, a waterfront one just went back and forth, and then one went up and down State. But this is the new routing. We decided to combine them. So we will have a big public event on May 31st. Stay tuned for more details coming soon. But we're excited to bring this back, even though it's not forever and it's not a ton of service, but we think it'll be well received by the community based on what we've been asked for many years at this point. On-time performance, this is something that we assess constantly on all of our routes to see how things are going. And so we're going to continue to monitor those things, but every year sometimes a pattern emerges over the spring and summer, and we find that there are some minor schedule changes we need to make our on-time performance better on a certain route or routes. And so we'll keep an eye on that, and that may pop up in the meantime. A couple other updates before we finish up. First is our tap to ride contactless payment. There's an image here of the card reader. It's available on 90% of our fleet now. There are the only buses it's not on are ones that are going to be retired soon, and so we weren't going to install new hardware on them. But we are, installing on a few more, and on our new vehicles, which if you see in the bottom right hand photo, this is one of our brand new all electric 40-foot buses. It's the first of its kind here in MTD. And those don't yet have these validators, but they will in a couple of weeks. Some of them are out in service right now. And then we're working on rolling out very soon the ability to, well, let me explain this. Currently, if you're using our tap to ride system, if you tap your smart device, so your phone, Apple Watch, what have you, that has contactless payment enabled on it, or tap your bank card that has the little Wi-Fi symbol on its side, that means it's contactless, that you can tap at the grocery store, drugstore, or whatever. You are able to use that on our buses. You're charged $1.75 for the regular fare. Your transfer is actually embedded in that, and you have so the next time you tap within 60 minutes on a bus, it doesn't charge you. And then once you've tapped up to $52 worth of $1.75 transactions in a 30-day period. So say you use the bus quite a lot. Once you hit $52, which is the equivalent of a 30-day adult pass, you're not charged more than $52 in a 30-day period. So you don't have to pay attention to say, oh, which pass should I get? Oh, am I paying more if I don't get a pass? We do the math for you. It's automated, and you won't be charged more than $52 in that 30-day period. Now, obviously that resets on day 31 to a new day one. But the thing that we're rolling out shortly for people to enroll in is, if you know our 30-day passes for seniors and people with disabilities, those are $20, not $52, and the cashier is 85 cents, not $1.75. And so we have worked on a way to have folks be able to sort of prove their connection to that, whether it's age or if it's someone who's in our mobility reduced fare program for people with disabilities. They're going to be able to go on, enroll, and connect their payment card with their status as either a senior or person with disabilities. And then when they tap their card or smart device, they'll only get charged 85 cents. And then their 30-day max will be capped at $20. So we are actually able to enroll people in this now, but we'll be rolling it out publicly in a few weeks. For that, just one note, our other passes and our cash fare are 62 and up for seniors. They've been that way for a long time. This system, because of the sort of path you go through verification, it has to be 65 and over for seniors. So if you're 62, 3, or 4, then you may want to still have a paper pass for a couple of years to get your discount. Lastly, we just installed about 2 weeks ago new bus shelters at the transit center in our express zone. So where the 12X and 24X pick up. There's 3 big shelters there. Nice way to escape the elements. And we're also rehabbing bus shelters at the airport. And the city of Santa Barbara is going to be later this year installing a crosswalk between those bus stops, which is great. Right now you have to run across the street. Yeah, so obviously crosswalk is better. So we're excited to see that, but we wanted to get the shelters spruced up. We're also rehabbing one that's on Hollister near the Page Youth Center. With that, every year we have this process. You've probably been to this page already if you registered for this webinar, but if you go to sbmtd.gov/servicechanges, you can see all the things I just talked about, and then you can take a survey up through the end of the month, so through next Tuesday, that explains all of the proposed changes, and you can give your feedback. And we've had pretty good participation in this so far. So if you know someone who couldn't make it here tonight, they have opinions about this stuff, you can point them in that direction so that they can take it. And with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. So feel free to go ahead and pop anything into the Q&A.